Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long, your host, here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We're so glad that you joined us today because we have a continuation of our adventures and experiences in Alaska. We're so happy to share those with you because, you know, when most people picture Alaska, they're imagining a place very much like this, right? Towering glaciers, rugged coastlines, wildlife everywhere, and mountains that seem to rise up out of the ocean. And, you know, they're not far off because Amy and I spent several days exploring Alaska's Kenai Peninsula, from the historic town of Seward to the wild waters of Kenai Fjords National Park. And along the way, we encountered whales, sea otters, all kinds of spectacular scenery that neither one of us up to this point had ever really seen. So today, like I said, we're going to continue on that that kind of like adventure,
Right.
as we move from Anchorage, taking the Seward Highway down to the town of Seward, and then exploring more of the Kenai Peninsula and those places. So
Yeah. Well, when we flew into Anchorage, we flew in over the Kenai Peninsula, and it was an overcast day. There were clouds everywhere. I was lucky enough to have a window seat, so I have my eyes peeled, like hoping to see some beautiful scenery. And as we were coming in, the clouds did part a little, and I finally got my first glimpse of the Alaska mountain ranges, and through the clouds, it was beautiful. I didn't know what mountains it was at the time, and I did snap a photo. And then later I realized it was the Kenai Peninsula we were coming in over, and it was just gorgeous. I could not wait to get down there and explore it, and it did not disappoint at all.
yeah, and this is where you're going to find, we talked about it. If you want to go back and check out episode 164, we take all of our episodes, we put them on the podcasting platforms, number them just to keep them sane in our heads. But it would be episode 164 where we start our journey in Anchorage. And from there, you know, we kind of already drove the first hour and a half of the Seward Highway back and forth a couple of times. And we had some really fun adventures, seeing a lot of wildlife and things. So this is kind of continuing on past Portage Glacier and like Portage Glacier Valley and those kind of areas. So along the way, I mean, Seward Highway is, without a doubt, I think one of the most spectacular highways you can drive.
Absolutely.
One of the most scenic, highways in the United States, if not the entire world.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever counted how many photos we took on the drive, but it's
lot.
In the multiple hundreds.
Yeah.
We just, every few minutes, one of us had our camera out taking pictures because it was just so beautiful. And I would be driving and I would tell you, take a picture of that. It's just so pretty. And you're like, the hard part's going to be picking the best ones.
Absolutely. And that's what it was. Like, you know, you're driving this highway and there are signs everywhere, you know, scenic overlook here, picture area here, you know, and like, we were trying to stop at every single one of them.
Yeah.
And it's not impossible, but it's very time consuming to stop at because you're like, oh, every time you stop, you're like, we'll stop for 30 seconds, but you end up spending 5-10 minutes looking at just these beautiful scenes.
It makes a 3-hour drive a 5-hour drive. But you know what?
Very
You
long.
don't mind because that's why you're on this highway.
Yeah,
to
that's
stop
why you're
and
doing
see the scenery.
And of course, in true Unscaled fashion, we had to take some side adventures,
Of course.
some side quests as well. And we saw on the map, it was, I think, Hope, Alaska. We had stopped at an overview, and we were looking, and we were like, wow, look at this. And they had some, I think some history signage on.
It was an overlook of a valley, and then it did have some history on it of things that had happened in the late 1800s in that area. And we're like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so the little town, they were like, oh, it's right down here. It still stands. A lot of historical buildings. Has to do with one of the, you know, several of the gold rushes that Alaska is famous for. But this one, I think, is a little less well known.
Yeah.
But anyway, you drive down this road for a while and you come to Hope, which I think is more of a seasonal town. There were places everywhere. Looked like they were setting up for like rafting adventures and things like that, because you actually end up on the other side of the Turnagain arm of the waterway right there, of the inlet of Cook Inlet. So you're like right across the water, but you feel like, oh my God, I'm in a totally different country.
Yeah.
But now you're getting the views of the mountains behind you that you couldn't really see when you were on the Seward Highway. Spectacular.
It was beautiful. It really was. And as you said, I think it is a seasonal area, so there wasn't a lot open when we were there, but you could tell they were preparing for the tourist season.
If you continue on, though, I mean, I don't think we'll do enough justice to the Seward Highway. People, it's just one of those things you got to drive. And we hope we hope we put it on your radar. This is one of the drives that you have to make. That's the important voice I use, right? But you make it down to the actual town of Seward, which is the gateway. I think it's most famous for being the gateway to Kenai Fjords National Park. It is a little village that's right on the water.
Yeah.
So fishing is very important. These excursions are like tourism is very important to their local economy and all of that. And I think it's what most people picture when they think of Alaskan towns.
Yeah.
Seward is what they picture.
Like an Alaska fishing village. This is absolutely it. And I wish we would have spent even more time there because it was so lovely. And most of our time there was hustling from one thing to another. We didn't really get a ton of time to like explore the city itself. We walked around the little marina area. We had dinner down there that night at Ray's, the seafood restaurant, and it was good. I didn't eat seafood. I ate chicken, of course, but it was nice. And then they were setting up for a festival right across the street. I think they called it the Mermaid Festival.
Yeah, had all kinds of exhibits and things like that out.
Yeah, it was just so nice. And that's actually, too, we'll talk about in a little bit, but that's where the visitor center for the national park is. It's right there on the water. Which,
of course, in true fashion for our show, we got there about a week too early. They had signs on the door like, oh, we'll be open next Monday or whatever the first official day. And so all we could do is like look through the windows like I was a stalker. Like, please, I need to get in here. But if you'll allow me a little bit of the weird history, right? Or the boring history.
Yes.
Seward, of course, is named after William H. Seward, who is a former U.S. Secretary of State who actually negotiated the purchase of Alaska from Russia in 1867. For those of you who slept during that class, we did actually buy Alaska from Russia. Do you know how much we paid?
$2 million.
I think it's like $7 million. Oh. $7 million at the time, which is...
I'm like, that's a lot of money then.
That's still a lot of money now, but like, for Alaska, that's kind of crazy. At the time, though, people in the U.S. didn't really like it, especially other people in power in the U.S. The critics mocked the deal, and for years it was called Seward's Folly or Seward's Icebox because they didn't know that Alaska had any of the natural resources like gold and later oils and things that they would so covet. But today, Alaska covers more than 663,000 square miles and contains immense natural resources. So, history was kinder to Mr. William Seward than his contemporaries were. They thought he was an idiot, basically.
Well, I mean, it ended up being a great purchase. But
great purchase.
Yeah. I really liked Seward. I definitely want to go back and spend more time there. The thing I think was most interesting was of all the places we went in Alaska, this was the most south. So you would think it's warmer because, it's more southern than the northern, like Fairbanks. And this was the coldest, and it was snowing there while we were there. And it was not snowing anywhere else that we were. So with Alaska, I think weather and temperature, it totally just depends on the elevation, probably. But what you think you don't know. You just have to wait till you get there.
The mountains that kind of cut through the state and surround these different cities kind of do or help the weather to do really funny things, right? Because, we were in Anchorage and the weather was kind of, partly cloudy and with breakups of sunshine and everything. And we were looking at the clouds over the mountains going, oh, I don't know if this is going to hold. We might be like driving through some really bad weather or something like that. And then once we got into the mountains, the temperature dropped immensely, but the weather held. And then the first time we kind of got to Seward, it was nice.
It was nice first thing in the morning. The weather did start rolling in, and it felt like it got colder as the day went on. And when we were leaving, it did start snowing that day.
Yeah.
But one of the things I loved, as we said, it's a fishing village. You're there on the water, like at a marina. There were stalls everywhere of people selling different types of fish, because there was a stall right by where we were going for our tour, and they were doing smoked salmon on bagels, I think, because it was in the morning.
Yeah.
And so there was a line of people to get this, but there were all these different little stalls just selling things. Like they had just gone out and caught this fish this morning. So if you like seafood,
the fresh seafood thing is so amazing, especially I think it's even more amazing to us. And I know people who are maybe live on a coastal city or something like that probably laugh, but like being in Vegas, we know like
it's not that fresh.
Fish can be shipped in, seafood can be shipped in here. And they call it fresh, but it's not fresh, but this is fresh. This is like,
this was swimming 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. And now it's on your bagel, but that was amazing because a lot of the hotels and lodging oftentimes in this area are suites. So they have kitchens or at least kitchenettes and everything. And so you can buy fish or some seafood and take it back to your suite, your hotel room or whatever, and cook it up.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of how it is in these areas. A lot of cabins, even the hotels, and we stayed at the Kenai Princess Wilderness Lodge, and they're all built up like cabins as well. Came with kitchens that if you wanted to bring some groceries in, you could kind of do that. A lot of them, not every single one of them, but a lot of them, almost like really nice KOAs or something, so... it was just a really, I think, an amazing experience to go from Anchorage, which is this, for Alaska, heavily populated area, to Seward, which has about 3,000 people year round, but definitely explodes with tourists and other people that come in for the season.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really nice place to visit.
Yeah.
We'll go there again.
For sure.
I never left. Keep it right here. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com, for all of our past episodes, interviews, things of that nature. We were talking about our trip down the famous Seward Highway to the town of Seward and, different options and everything. And I just want to correct a little something. At the Princess Kenai Wilderness Lodge, there are no kitchens. I was thinking...
You were thinking of a different lodge we stayed in.
Well, a different lodge, but also they do have wood, fire burning stoves in there, and it crossed to my memory. So you can bring seafood back to your Princess Wilderness Lodge, but cooking it there, I guess you can cook it on the little wood burning thing. I don't think they recommend that.
Probably not, no.
I just don't want people booking it and going, oh, there's suites there.
There's a kitchenette, yeah.
I did see when we were looking at, there's tons of hotels and cabins that are like set off in the woods. It's not like, and I'm not trying to pick on it, but it's not like a La Quinta on the side of the road or whatever, unless you're actually in the city. And then a lot of people recommend the Hotel Seward. It's older, historic, and like famous. It's like right downtown in that community, but a lot of them do have in-suite
kitchens,
kitchen and kitchenette kind of areas. So just, I guess, check. Don't take my word for it. What do I know? I'm just a host of a travel show. So anyway, we are looking at the Kenai Fjords National Park. And so Kenai Fjords National Park, it's a little bit different than other national parks we've featured on our show because it is vastly inaccessible by road.
I would say that is true for pretty much every national park in Alaska.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah.
It has some, I mean, they have what, 6 or 7 national parks? I think 6. But most of them, you can only get to the very heart of them, or most of the areas, I mean, without a helicopter or a plane or dog sled.
Yeah.
Something like that is going to have to take you, because they purposely design not having a lot of road access to places, because they want the wilderness to be wilderness.
They want to preserve it. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But Kenai Fjords did have a road, one road in that takes you to what's called the Exit Glacier trailhead area. And you can, from there, hike. There's a few trails, or there is some backcountry hiking you can go on. Or you can experience it from the outside by a boat tour, or I believe there are some like flyover tours. So we chose to drive to the Exit Glacier, down the Exit Glacier Road, and then also do a tour around part of the outside of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's really the only 2 ways we're ready to experience it. You can't do, the other ones you talked about, but I am kind of interested. I'm tangent now, but I am interested in going back and doing a kayak experience.
Yeah, that would be
because we
neat.
did see some kayakers while we were on the water. So we'll talk about the boating experience here in just a little bit. But you mentioned Exit Glacier Road. Exit Glacier Road is right at the beginning of Seward, if not right outside the city limits of Seward. And it's just kind of I don't think it's even called.
I don't think they really even had a sign.
It's like the Henry Learman Road or something like that. And it's kind of just this little turnoff. It looks so I don't know.
It just looks like a regular road off the main thoroughfare there. And there was I think no sign that was this way to Kenai Fjords National Park. None of that was there. It was just here's just a little turn. And we were driving and we're like, is this right? Does this feel like the way to a national park? Because there were businesses, there were houses, and then there was a marathon being set up right there in the parking lot on this road. So we're like, okay, we'll just keep driving. See what happens. We kind
of noticed all these flags set up, and I was like, what the heck is going on here, man? And then once you pass a couple of runners, you're like, oh, it starts clicking. They're doing a marathon or a half marathon here, and we're just driving through. I didn't see any signs that said we couldn't drive.
The road was not closed. Okay. Other people were driving.
I felt bad at first.
Yeah, we were just driving slowly because they were running on the side of the road, and they were running to the sign, the actual national park, welcome to the national park sign. And then they were turning around. Fun. Yeah.
So this is, if you are like so many other people that travel and visit all the national parks, or you're on that journey, this is the road you'll take to get to the actual Kenai Fjords National Park sign. If you like to sit out in front of the sign, kind of double guns it. Hey, here we're here at the national park, or
like
proof.
Jeremy does. I
like to have online proof that I made it to the actual national park. So this, Exit Glacier Road is that road you'll take, and which is so amazing. We passed the runners, and we saw all these little businesses, and they have cabins, and even a shuttle. I think a shuttle is some of these taking them to downtown Seward. And a dog sledding kennel.
A dog sledding kennel, yes, right there.
We saw some dogs being trained, and it was so cute. But it actually ends, the road ends at the nature center, and there's a parking lot and some restrooms and all of that stuff. Yeah. And that's the trailhead for Exit Glacier. You'll park your car there, and there's a pretty big parking lot because it is a very popular stop.
I think there was a campground right there too, over to the side.
I believe so. Yeah. And you and I parked because we were just going to kind of go look at the signage and see what's up. And 30 seconds out of the car, the first people we run into, they didn't even say hi. They were like, "Did you see the bear?"
I know.
And I was like, I thought I misheard. I was like, I'm sorry, what? And they're like, "Did you see the bear in the middle of the road when you guys came in? It was right after the welcome sign." And I was like, no. So that started this obsession because we had just missed out on seeing a beautiful bear.
We saw their car in front of us.
Yeah.
And we had stopped because we saw moose on the side of the road. Remember that? So we slowed down to see the moose, and
We
they got ahead of us.
Yeah.
And they saw the bear and we didn't.
We got distracted by moose. Always the same story. That's going to be a common theme in this series of episodes of about Alaska, is how often I got sidetracked by moose. So, we were there and just maybe 30 seconds behind these folks, because they were already, done kind of looking around. They didn't go on the hike or anything, but this is where you're going to go for the trailhead for Exit Glacier. Along the way, though, you'll see signs. And at first, unless you stop at this first, I think, overlook, you won't know what the signs means. There are numbers on them. The numbers are actually years. The years, they put signage for the years where the glacier used to be.
Yeah.
And it's both like, I think, cool to see how they've figured out where and how far the glacier was, and kind of sad to see where it is now.
Right.
Because it's like way far off the road. I mean, you can still obviously see it pretty clearly.
Yeah.
But I don't know, 200 years ago, it was like right where the signage was.
Yeah. It was right at the welcome to Kenai Fjords National Park. Because we were like, why does that sign just say 1894 or something? And then the next one was like 18, just a few years later, and it was maybe 20 feet away. And we were like, we're going to have to look into that. And then when you said that, it was a little bit, like you said, kind of sad. Like, oh, it used to be this big and it's melted or pushed away. So it's broken apart probably in many cases too. Yeah.
But when you get to Exit Glacier, they'll have signs everywhere. It is, they say, a couple hours round trip to go to the observation point for Exit Glacier and back to the parking lot.
Yeah.
We didn't have that kind of time because it was still a little bit before, our trip out into the water. So we decided, we might come back later and do this. I'm going to just destroy that myth. We never came back. So we came back. I will say this.
We did go back. We just didn't.
We came back looking for the bear. I was obsessed with seeing this bear, and I never saw it. No. And I never hiked
But we think we heard something, because remember we heard somebody with a whistle in the woods, and we were like, why is somebody whistling? And then we realized they might be trying to scare off wildlife or something if they're hiking. Yeah. But there are other trails out there, and there are other glaciers, including the Harding Icefield, which has its own trail. It's one of, I think, the most strenuous hikes that they have out there. And it's around an 8-mile round trip with over 1,000 foot elevation change. So, but it is, I think, the largest ice field in Alaska.
Yeah. The Harding Icefield is at the heart of Kenai Fjords. It covers over 700 square miles. And of that, there are just, I think, what they say, how many hundreds of glaciers that actually make up this ice field, and just kind of have done their thing and created these just humongous mountains and valleys. And just, it's so gorgeous there. It's hard to put into words how beautiful it is. But you were at some point kept slapping my arm, because everywhere I turned, I was like, wow. I'm taking pictures and video, and I get so many gigabytes of footage.
Right.
Because everywhere I was looking, it was just amazing to see. So that is definitely going to be a huge part of your trip down and around Seward, is checking out Exit Glacier, looking for moose, looking for bear, looking for the wildlife in general, but also just taking in the scenery.
Yes.
Is a huge part of it.
It was so beautiful. I do, like I said, want to go back and spend more time just there, doing more of the trails there, spending more time in Seward, because the town does seem lovely. And the summer season, it does pick up in population and tourism, because people obviously are coming there to enjoy this lovely little fishing town and everything it offers. And it does offer a lot. Not just the tours to Kenai Fjords, but there were other fishing tours or excursions people were going on. Yeah. As you said, we saw people kayaking. So a lot of water activities over there too.
And you have to be pretty flexible with your schedule, because the weather can kick up at any time. It's a coastal town. The bay it sits on has the best name ever. It's Resurrection Bay.
Yeah.
And it is, it's one with nature, man. As soon as our water tour ended, our wildlife tour ended, they were canceling ones for other people for that evening and the next day because weather just popped up and was starting to come ashore, and they were like, it's not going to be pretty out there, so we're canceling everything.
Right.
So people were either getting refunds or they were rebooking their trips. You just have to be able to roll with it the best you can whenever you visit these areas, because they're just subject to nature, which can be pretty volatile out there. And we'll get to our trip. We had a lot of fun. Weather held. We had a blast. So we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. Stick right here. Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
She's wearing a bright pink shirt today. We are in Sin City, Las Vegas, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. It's very bright in the studio today.
Sorry.
No. Like bright. Like there's life in here. So my wardrobe is all dark colors.
Solid black.
Solid black, head to toe, all the time. Johnny Cash, without the talent. Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com. And always thank you to Diamondback Land Surveying for supporting our show now. Season 4 of it, they've been with us from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And actually, got a lot of recommendations from Trent and Lisa Keenan, who, I don't know about Lisa, but I know Trent has been to Alaska several times. He's a machine. Now, let me talk about Trent real quick. He's a machine when it comes to these kind of trips, though. He's one of those guys that he will park himself in one place, like he stays in Anchorage, and he'll rent a vehicle, and he'll just like power drive to places.
Oh, okay.
Like he'll get up at 4 a.m, power drive to Seward, see things, go on a tour, and then power drive back to Anchorage.
Yeah.
Like he'll drive down to the tip and go to like Homer and drive all the way back. I don't know how he does it. The guy's he's a machine.
For me, sometimes that makes sense. And then sometimes, like for me, this trip to Alaska, I wanted to be able to experience staying in other places. So that's why I wanted us to move around the state a little bit more. But I could see that doing that if we were in maybe a place that was a little bit closer together. Because you and I tried to make the drive to Homer one day, and we did not make it all the way down there. We thought we'll make it down there in 3 hours ish, see the town, turn around and come back. And it didn't quite happen for us.
The Kenai Fjord Peninsula, Kenai Peninsula, is one of you must have great patience. Because there's really only one highway that connects to everywhere, connects all these small towns. Because if you're traveling down to Homer, on the left side, out in the distance, is Kenai Fjords National Park. And it's all wilderness. So, like, you have Highway 1 to travel on. And Highway 1 is not like, I don't know, the 4-lane highways in California or the 10-lane highways in Texas or whatever.
Yeah,
no. It is a lot of areas, it's 1 lane.
Yeah, 1, I think 2.
2 lanes going back and forth or whatever. But so our little adventure began with an act of just immense frustration and patience at the same time. When you're in those situations where we were 3 cars behind the lead car. The lead car was on a Sunday morning stroll. They were in no hurry to get anywhere.
I think they were going 45.
I think so.
And we were like, can we pass? Can we not pass?
Well,
what's happening?
It wasn't even a question of can we pass, because no one was passing, because there was just enough traffic coming from the opposite direction where no one could get around this one little red car. I will be 86 years old and I will remember this little red car in front of us going 45 miles an hour.
Well, and on top of that, sporadically, there were bouts of construction. So just when you would finally start to gain speed, we'd have to stop because the construction was taking up one whole side of the road. So they would have traffic stopped on one side to let the other side go, and then vice versa. So it did seem to take a while for us just to get across the peninsula. And at that point, we were like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah. The original plan was we're going to drive down to Homer. And even we were talking about possibly even like doing, taking a water taxi somewhere else or whatever. We didn't make it.
No.
We didn't make it because
we had to pivot.
The exercise and patience did not go well because we had barely gotten to past Sterling to Ridgeway, these kind of areas where it bends down to the peninsula. Whenever you made a call, you were like, you know what? We're going to Kenai. Yeah. The actual town of Kenai that sits out, by the water. And we'll just see what this is all about because I can't. It's going to take us 18 hours to get down to Homer.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, we could push on and make it, but then we're losing the entire rest of the day making this drive back. So I thought, let's pivot and go see the town named after this peninsula, which I had read has several overlooks of the bay, and that you can many times of the year see whales coming into the bay from these overlooks. So we researched where they were. We went to the very first overlook, which had this odd iron gazebo thing. I don't know. And we took a lunch with us and had a picnic out there. Did not see any whales, but it was lovely. A lovely view, I would say.
Yeah, it's another part of like one of these inlets that's famous from the James Cook voyages back in the day. It was a Tuesday, I believe, when he came through there. But it has a lot of deep Russian influences. Again, this used to be owned by Russia, so this was like a Russian fishing town with like forts and things like that go back to the 1700s. A lot of interesting history around there, a lot of interesting like Russian history through that area, but just really beautiful looks out into the water. And even across one of the inlets, you can see Lake Clark National Park, which is only available, accessible, I should say, via boat or plane or helicopter or something like that. It's another one of these Alaskan parks you just can't drive up to.
So we saw it. We just didn't get to visit it.
I don't know. Does that count?
I want to go back and visit it. This is one that's known for like you go there to see bears. So I think at some point we go back to Lake Clark. But for now, we did see it in the distance from, I think it's called Scenic Bluff Overlook. Yeah. And then we moved a little bit farther down to their actual like historic part of the town, which overlooks the beach. There were people out down on the beach playing with their dogs, doing fishing, things like that. But we were a little bit above them, kind of on a cliff. And that's where the old fort sits that you were talking about. And this really old church, like a Russian...
it was like a Russian Orthodox church that dates back into the 1800s. What's left of, I believe, I forget what the fort was actually called, but Fort Kenai, there it is. Fort Kenai and all of this area kind of just, now there's neighborhoods around it, but it is some of the earliest parts of the city where this area, the downtown the grouping and everything like right on these cliffs because, so they could see and monitor the ships and everything else that were like passing through along the inlet and around the bay. So, it was good for protection back then, but like now it's just, they have all these beautiful parks and overlooks. Like you said, the park is probably, I don't know, 40, 50 feet below you. And you're just like, wow, you can see where this would be a great area to see whales coming in through the right time of the year, which of course
we weren't there for that.
We were a few weeks early.
There was a walking trail to get down there, or I think if you drove around kind of the bend, you could, because people had driven down there, you could drive. But we kind of took our time walking around because they had historical markers up there and checking that out since Jeremy loves history. And then we decided, okay, let's make this drive back towards the area we came from. Let's see how long it takes us to get back there.
That didn't take us nearly as long.
No, but remember, I thought I saw a bear. I was driving and I thought I saw a bear and we turned around.
It got very exciting for about 5 minutes. We started, you were driving. I was passenger princess at this time. And we had just picked up some lunch because we were just going to head back to the lodge. And you were like, you know how you get, you know how like, I mean, I get it too, not just you, but like you lose function of words and you just start making noises. So it's not like you were like, oh, look, there's a bear. You were like, ah, ah. Screaming, which scared me because I wasn't looking up. I was looking at my phone. And you're just going, and I was like, what? You're like, oh, bear. I think I saw a bear. And so, like, again, this is not a big highway. It's like 2 lanes, one going, one coming. And we just kind of like found the first little dirt area that we could and just Dukes of Hazzard this thing, man. Just dirt coming up. And people are like honking at us, but we were like, we're going to see this bear or whatever. And, you know, we pull back around. We drove a little bit past it because we wanted to come back and get a good view of it.
Because there were trees and it was like set back in the trees.
Yeah. And when we passed, I saw something. I was like, I think that was it because it was like black against the woods. I was like, oh man, this is it. And we turned back around and we finally slow down on the side of the road, look off into the woods. And what was it?
It was a cow.
It was a cow. Just one cow.
We're from Texas. We've seen lots of cows, but I wasn't expecting a cow on the side of the highway.
Just
in
one.
Alaska.
One single solitary cow by itself.
As we drove farther, I did see there was a road that said Cattle Ranch Road. So there must have been a cattle ranch out there, but I just wasn't expecting it. And when you just get a glimpse of something black out of the corner of your eye, you're like, obviously it's a bear. What else would it be, right?
Yeah. I hadn't seen cows this entire trip.
No.
We had started seeing like the numbers started ticking on like moose. We started seeing bald eagle, all kinds of stuff. I hadn't seen any cows. I don't think any horses to that point.
No.
So yes, we were excited. This was it. And the adventures of Amy and Jeremy. These people must have thought we were crazy because I'm telling you, we were pulling Uis in the middle of the highway. And I was like, you know, hanging out the window going like official travel show business. Like we got to get to where we're going. They got bears.
Official travel show.
They got bears, man. So, and then to pull up and see a cow.
Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing.
I don't think we said anything to each other the rest of the way back to the lodge.
The very quiet 2-hour drive back to the lodge. But you know what? I really did like that lodge. It was a very nice place to stay. They had their own hiking trails that we went on a couple of their trails. It sits above the river, and you could see that people were getting ready to start fishing out in the river there. Lovely place. I would absolutely go back and stay there again.
Yeah, the Princess Kenai Wilderness Lodge, which I think is tied to the Princess Cruise Line or whatever.
Yeah, they have several lodges in Alaska, in various places around Alaska, and they also, have the cruises around the area, so you can put together vacation packages with them. The
beds were nice. It was clean. Staff was friendly.
Yeah.
They had good beer.
They did.
I think that evening we just sat and
after that drive we had a few drinks.
I thought about that cow. I've thought about that cow every day since then. Keep it right here. It's Unskilled Travel Show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. I hesitated there.
You did.
I had like something in my throat, man. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
And check us out online, unskelledtravelshow.com. Talking about Alaska and specifically in this show, talking about Kenai Fjords National Park. Question for you. Do you know what a fjord is?
It has something to do with...
Don't read off my paper.
No, I know it was formed by a glacier being there, and then it moved out of the way. But beyond that, I can't.
It moved out the way. Ludacris came by and said, "You need to move out the way." No, sorta. Sort of. I'll give you partial credit.
Thank you.
Like,
You didn't let me cheat.
Like your homeroom teacher, I'll give you partial credit. A fjord is a long, narrow inlet with steep sides created by glaciers. So you got it partially right.
Partially.
So when a glacier, like, shrinks or contracts or whatever,
moves out of the way.
Moves out of the way, it just cuts these valleys because it's usually very quick. It's not like a slow whatever, but it's very quick. And so it makes it looks like the mountains are just like bursting up out of the water.
Yeah.
So, we're going to talk in just a second about our wilderness tour on the water and just the mountains. It's hard to describe. There's no like tons of shoreline and then a gradual build up to a mountain. It's like, boom, 5 feet of shore and you're going vertical and there's mountains just like busting out of the water.
Some places there really wasn't shore. It was just these dramatic cliffs that just dropped straight off into the water too. It was truly beautiful to see. Before we got there, we saw video and photos of the national park from the water, and I could not wait to get there to see it because it just seems, as you said, so dramatic and almost otherworldly. It's not like anything we had seen because we didn't grow up in a place that had cliffs and shoreline that looked anything like this.
And even just the watercolors, we talked about the dramatic rising of the mountains, but the watercolors are so blue and so turquoise, in different areas. The amazing thing that I saw in Resurrection Bay when we were out on the water is how black the water was. That was crazy to me.
Yeah.
It was like you go from these rivers that are bright blue, bright green, and then they empty into Resurrection Bay and it's dark as night, which kind of freaked me out a little bit.
But then you could look out across the water and you could see where it stopped being black and started turning turquoise again.
Yeah, as it got closer to the shore.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing.
And man, and like, we would see animals and things like that coming out of the water, which was, it blew my mind because I'm like, you can't see them coming. And I didn't know if I wanted to like stick my hand in the water or not, but I kept a distance away from that. But, just amazing to see this like change and scenery and what you're used to and what you think about Alaska. And then when you're actually there and you're like, I didn't know.
In some ways, it's exactly what you picture. And then in other ways, it's so much more.
Keep it right here. It's On Scale Travel Show. Be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
In Sin City, Las Vegas, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. Check out more and learn more about Diamondback Land Surveying, one of the best land surveying companies in the United States. And that's not just me being thankful for their sponsorship. They are continuously recognized as one of the best land surveying companies in the U.S. time and time again. And Trent and Lisa Keenan, the owners of Diamondback, are pillars of our Las Vegas community. And we are so thankful to have them as a part of our show. And because they are fellow travelers themselves, I think they're about to head out to Ireland for a big adventure. So congrats to them. I know it's special. So, we're out here in Alaska. And at some point, you got to leave the maps behind. When you're talking about Kenai Fjords National Park, when you're talking about Kenai Peninsula, it doesn't do you any more help to look at a map. You got to leave all that behind and get out on the water to really appreciate it, to really check out how magnificent this area of the state is, how the country is. And so we were lucky enough to book an excursion and to go out for about 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah.
Gilligan had a shorter trip in mind, so I was a little bit nervous. But who did we book through? It was a nice little company.
Yeah, we booked a tour through Major Marine Tours. They have been in business in Seward doing these tours for over 30 years. It's a family-owned business. They have, I think, 4 different ships. Actually, it might be a few more than that. But they do several different tours of Kenai Fjords National Park, and then they have other experiences, like private experiences that you can purchase with them. And you and I talked about which length of cruise did we want to do, because they have everything from a 4-hour up to an 8.5-hour cruise. And you typically do not like excursions that last all day.
Yep.
You're kind of like 4 hours is my max, and even that's a little long for me.
Yeah.
But we wanted to get the most out of this. So because we were there a little early in the season, they weren't doing the 8.5-hour trips just yet, but all the other ones were available to us. And so with a little bit of research, we decided on the 6-hour trip. And I would say it was a little more than we typically expend on an excursion, but knowing that it was a good chunk of the day, we thought it was worth it. And I feel like it really was worth what we paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was more than worth everything. I mean, usually cost is subjective. We don't really talk about it because, I mean, what's cheap to me might be expensive to you and vice versa. And so usually we don't talk about those things, but it is good to give people an idea of the value. Because sometimes people are only looking at price, but the value and what you see and the opportunities to see wildlife. I feel like you're going to Alaska for certain things, to see just amazing jaw-dropping scenery and to hopefully have some wildlife encounters.
Yeah.
And if that's your major thing, and if that's why you're here, okay, it's time to pony up. You know, that's why they invented credit cards. And that's why I can take and spread out, you know, the cost over about 6 credit cards of mine.
4 payments through Klarna.
About 9 payments on my Old Navy card. I'll get a lot of cheap T-shirts and some performance fleece this summer. So we paid for it. Anyway, so we leave very, very quick and easy boarding process to the company. They're not sponsors or anything like that, but when we do have a good time, we like to give these companies a shout out. Yeah. So very easy process boarding. The staff was super friendly. The boat was clean. All the things you're looking for. They do give you a brief safety chat, and their big thing was knowing what to do if you start feeling sick on the boat.
Yes.
So we got that talk a couple of times. Some people did not listen, and I got to witness some gnarly things I won't talk about in the show.
I didn't realize you saw that.
But we did. Sorry. We did see some. Anyway, going back, there's opportunities to stand out front. And it was a little cold on the water that day. But there's opportunities. I mean, it's a 3-deck high ship, so you can go high. You can sit in the front of the boat and be, you know, Jack and the girl from Titanic. You know, oh, never let go. You know,
yes.
That is her name. Yeah, Rose. I was like, I can't remember her name.
But so when you board the boat, you are assigned a table number, and that is your, what they call your home for the trip, for the duration. You are welcome to go on any of the open decks, and there is seating on the front and the back in the open decks. But if you ever want to go be back indoors, it's, you know, you go back to your assigned table, and they do their best to make sure every party gets a good view. So we were seated at a table across from strangers. So, you know, if it's just 2 of you, you may be seated with other people. No problem. Just, you know, get friendly. But
they also provide you with like binoculars. Every set of people got their own binoculars that they could share, see the wildlife from the boat. And so you kind of got this little, at least I got this, you know, you're not scrambling over people to try to get to a table, so you're not standing for 6 hours.
Right.
Also, on the 6-hour and above trips, they do provide you with lunch. So you get sandwich, chips, drinks, all that stuff. You get free coffee and like little snacks throughout your voyage as well. And then they do have like a bar for like...
Yeah, they have a concession.
A concession stand for like foods and drinks and everything. I will say this though. Okay, so that's about the ship. leaving out into Resurrection Bay, kind of talked about how black the water was, a little bit freaky and everything. Almost immediately out, maybe 15 minutes out into the water. The town kind of floats away, sinks away and everything. And you're just left like, it's just water and mountains and just openness. And you're like, this is the last frontier that I've been dreaming about. Yeah. When you think about Alaska, this is what you really have in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing to be a part of, like from our boat. And, they take you pretty close to the shores and a lot of areas, different outlets and coves to see the rock formations and the different spires and different things that are like rising up out of the water. But from there, you can also see waterfalls falling off the mountains. I mean, must be hundreds of feet high, some of them.
Yeah.
That is probably just like a regular occurrence. It's just the snow melt and it just created this little waterfall. But yeah, it's so amazing.
It was a really incredible experience. And as you said, it was chilly that day. It was kind of misty. It did kind of start to rain a little bit. So you and I were prepared. We had brought rain gear with us. So we were decked out because we did not want to be inside. We wanted to be outside to experience this. So we got on the front deck where there was no cover and we're getting, the spray in our faces. We have the binoculars out and we were cold, but at the same time, like, it was so beautiful. We didn't want to miss any of it. So we stayed out there until we needed to go back in and warm up. But just seeing, as you said, the spires and the waterfalls on the mountains, and then you're on alert for sea life. Mm-hmm. And so, not just you, everyone on the boat is on alert for sea life. And as soon as somebody spots something, the crew, they suss it out and then they make an announcement.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long for there to be an announcement.
No, then all of a sudden, like we were just a short distance away from some humpback whales that were coming up. And we got there, we were rolling up on them. When we were coming up on them, a couple of them were breaching. Mm-hmm. That's when they jump out of the water and slam and everything. And so you keep your distance, but you follow them around. If you've never been on a whale watching tour or whatever, but you kind of follow them. I mean, you do your best to follow them. They dive down deep and then they pop up somewhere completely different. But I mean, we were doing that and people were just like, I think you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Everyone was just quiet and just like taking picture, video, or whatever. Plenty of room. Nobody was like arguing, fighting, doing any of that stuff. They were just being in awe of the things that you came to see.
Exactly. As you said, we sat there and kind of watched those for a little bit, and then we needed to get on with the rest of our trip because there's kind of an itinerary of where the boat's going to stop throughout the way. So then we head across Resurrection Bay, across that black water, and we get towards more of the turquoise water on the opposite side because we're going into different bays at that point, into the actual like fjords. It's created bays, and we saw another whale off the other side of the boat.
Yeah.
So that
just kind of playing around.
Yeah, just playing around. He didn't come up very often. Every now and then you kind of see his tail come up over the water. Yeah. But then right after that, I think is when we saw sea lions.
Yeah.
Was that... They were like they're a particular type of sea lion though that like don't live anywhere else though, because the captain was telling us these are, if you've been to California, San Francisco, and you've seen the sea lions there, she said these are a different type and they're about double the size of the California sea lions. They were big. Yeah,
they were easy to spot too.
They were.
I guess just because of the size, But as you mentioned, we end up in all these different bays over 6 hours, including I think it's called Alick Bay, and then like you come up pretty close to like Alick Glacier, where we sit for a little bit for about 20 minutes. And this is where, from a distance anyway, we would start seeing probably the most animals on this trip, but like the Dall sheep.
Yes.
Dall sheep are like hanging out on the, these are the billy goats, right? The short... Yeah. They call them billy goats, and they're just hanging out on the sheer faces of these mountains. And we also saw our first bear.
Yes. Well, really our only bear of the trip.
We saw our first bear, and he's like hanging out. I don't know if he looked like he was considering sliding down the waterfall. Like there was a river going by him, and he was just like, I think he was just foraging around. Yeah. He probably just waking up from hibernation, and but it was just an amazing journey overall. Seeing bear, I think we saw one going out too. So like 2 bear, a bunch of sheep, sea lion, sea otters. So
yes, we did see
the giant sea otters.
Yeah,
bald eagles started circling us. So dollar for dollar, value for value. This is a trip that I recommend.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely. And our captain was incredible. She even said we had a little bit of time left, and she went back to where we had the whale activity so we could get a little bit more. And we did finish the trip with seeing a few more whales playing. So it was such a great day. I was so happy with that part of it.
So if you're heading to Alaska, you plan on visiting Seward, Kenai Fjords National Park, any of that, we hope we've given you some recommendations that you can enjoy. Stay with us. Unscaled Travel Show. We'll see you guys next time.